Hi, I'm Danielle Whistler, and I am the 144. So I'm streaming off Rumble right now, and you're probably getting this echo onto YouTube. And today we're going to talk about the War Scroll. So I went live once today already, but today is the second time here. I'm going to talk about the War Scrolls. So this is in the book from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Um, if you don't know what that is, there was a whole bunch of scripture that was found and in a cave, and this was in the Dead Sea Scrolls from Qumran. So these caves in Qumran is actually really interesting story. If you get a chance, you got to check it out. If you didn't watch the program this morning, then you definitely want to check this out. The War Scrolls super interesting, and I like to read it. Just do a little read through of it today. So anybody has any questions, they want to like chime in, I am all about having, the back and forth. I think that's fantastic. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start reading the War Scroll. So the War Scroll in the Dead Sea Scrolls is pretty darn interesting, and there's a whole bunch of different things that have been found in these caves, and they have like different locations of where they found them. So at the top it says 1QM 4Q 491 through 496. So it depends on like where they found it, like where they found it in these caves and the different areas that they found it. Okay, there's fragments of different things. So you might hear some while I'm reading, you might hear some like space. And I'll tell you when that has been something that they couldn't read. Okay, so basically, some of it's been kind of discarded, or it is too damaged to read. So the interesting thing about Qumran, where they found these scrolls, was you would think, since they were so old, like these are like very, very old, you would think that they would have been ruined. But it actually is kind of a fun story that um, bat dung was what preserved these things because of its properties. So it's kind of odd and amazing. God's good. So to be able to keep these things so we could have them later to understand where we are and coming into different times. So it's encouraging. I know. You're like, oh, Armageddon's encouraging. Yeah. Yeah, sure it is. Okay, here we go. So this is the War Scroll. Armageddon, the war to end all wars. These words stir up images of the inevitable conflict, the final focus on the dark side of human nature, the ultimate catharsis that ushers in the age of peace. All of these issues come to a head in the War Scroll, a text that describes the eschatological um, last battle in gory detail, as righteousness is fully victorious and evil is forever destroyed. This vivid account gives us insight into how, about and at the time of Jesus, some Jews conceived of Armageddon. So it talks about this. The first lines of the scroll are 1QM 1 through 7. They lay the framework for a three-stage conflict between the sons of light, that is, the members of the Yahad. And there's, different explanations of what these things mean. So right now we're going through the explanation by the people that found the scrolls and were able to translate them. Okay. The first battle finds the adversaries led by the Kittim of Assyria. Although the name Kittim is most often used in the scrolls as a reference to the Romans, its basic sense seems to have been archetypical guys. They're the bad guys, right? The Kittim of Assyria come in alliance with the biblical enemies Edom, Moab, Ammon, and Philistia. It's like the Philistines. Some of these things are really extremely hard to pronounce. Cooperating with this unholy alliance are the violators of the covenant, Jews who had spurned the message of the Yahad, and in so doing align themselves with the sons of darkness. The second stage expands the war's influence to the Kittim who dwell in Egypt, and then finally to the kings of the north. So although the war is said to extend over 40 years, the writer of the scroll was particularly concerned with the details of the very final day of battle. And after 6 bloody engagements during this last battle, the Sons of Light and Sons of Darkness are deadlocked in a 3-3 tie. Interesting. In the 7th and final confrontation, the great hand of God shall overcome Belial and all the angels of his dominion, and all men of his forces shall be destroyed forever. Along the way, in true apocalyptic fashion, the scroll goes into elaborate detail concerning the battle trumpets, the banners, and various operational matters, then turning to the liturgical priestly prayers for the various phases of the conflict are recorded. Finally, the 7 savage engagements of the final day of battle are detailed, culminating in a ceremony of thanksgiving on the day following the victory. So I'm just going to kind of go. So there is a description of the war. Let's see. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Let's do this. Oh, just to give you another hint, this is the first one of 7, texts that were found by the Bedouin in 1947. So this was found in 1947. This was found then. 19 columns of text were preserved, lacking only a few lines at the bottom edge and the final page or pages of the composition. So that's actually really awesome because there's a lot of pages in these scrolls. So here we go. The description of the eschatological war. For the instructor, the rule of the war, the first attack of the Sons of Light shall be undertaken against the forces of the Sons of Darkness, the army of Belial, the troops of Edom, Moab, and the sons of Ammon, the Amalekites. Philistia and the troops of the Kittim of Assyria. Supporting them are those who have violated the covenant, the sons of Levi, the sons of Judah, and the sons of Benjamin, those exiled to the wilderness, shall fight against them with somebody, because there's a ... There's one of those spots that was left out. So let's read that sentence again so you can hear it. The sons of Levi, the sons of Judah, and the sons of Benjamin, those exiled to the wilderness, shall fight against them against all their troops. When the exiles of the Sons of Light return from the wilderness of the peoples to camp in the wilderness of Jerusalem, then after the battle they shall go up from that place, and the king of the Kittim shall enter into Egypt. In his time he shall go forth with great wrath to do battle against the kings of the north, and in his anger he shall set out to destroy and eliminate the strength of Israel. Then there shall be a time of salvation for the people of God, and time of dominion for all the men of his forces, in eternal annihilation for all the forces of Belial. There shall be great panic among the sons of Japhet. Assyria shall fall with no one to come to his aid, and the supremacy of the Kittim shall cease, that wickedness be overcome without a remnant. There shall be no survivors of all the sons of darkness. So, I find that really interesting because we're talking about Japhet, right? So this is Noah's son, and we're talking about basically that whole line is out, right? So, and we're talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So we're talking about the Levites, the royal priesthood. We're talking about Judah, the kings, right? That's the kingly line where Melchizedek is, because Melchizedek is also the Levite, but Jesus is, or Yeshua, is both Melchizedek, he's a Levite, as well as from the tribe of Judah, because of Joseph's line. Levite from Mary's side, and Judah from Joseph's. Now you say, well, he's the son of God. Yes, but also a man at this point, and his father is dad. Here is Joseph. And that's where the discrepancy is. So I think it's like Luke, and Luke is worth, it might be Luke or Mark. Which one's different? I think it's Luke. But then, you have the lineage in Matthew that points to Mary and how the lineage goes down from, well, it does the Judah line. And then Mary, I think, is explained later. It might be in Luke. I'm thinking it's Luke is when Mary's thing is, because they talk about John the Baptist and Elizabeth, John the Baptist's mother, her husband and she are both Levites, and they're related, obviously, to Mary. Anyway, I just sort of went off a tangent there, but if you understand anything about those sections of the Bible, then that will make a lot of sense, especially with the lineage going back from the tribes of Israel. Obviously, Jacob, who had the sons, and the reason each son got their birthright, and Judah got the line of kings, Levi got the royal priesthood, and Benjamin was the very last son of Jacob, and he was very important. He's the last son, but also of him and his beloved, and which I feel like obviously is super important. So here we go. Then the sons of righteousness shall shine to all ends of the world, continuing to shine forth until the end of the appointed season of darkness. Interesting. Then the sons of righteousness shall shine to all ends of the world, continuing to shine forth until the end of the appointed seasons of darkness. Interesting. Then at the time appointed by God, his great excellence shall shine for all the times of eternity, for peace and blessing, glory and joy, and long life for all the sons of light. So I think this is super interesting because right here it's saying that his people, God's people, are going to shine all the way through until the end of darkness, meaning that after the 1,000 years of peace, his people would have a place here and would also be shining all the way till the end of that darkness, because there is no darkness during the years of peace. So you would shine all the way until the very end. Unless I'm taking that in a completely different context, and it just means till the end, before the 1,000 years of peace starts, and then he's let loose for another season, a little season, and then we start on the other part. That's interesting to me. All right, so let's get back there. Then the sons of righteousness shall shine to all ends of the world, continue to shine forth until the end of the appointed seasons. Appointed seasons, there we go, of darkness. So that would mean both. I just answered my own question. God did. Then at the time appointed by God, his great excellence shall shine for all the times of eternity, for peace and blessing, glory and joy, and long life for all sons of light. All the day when the Kittim fall, there shall be a battle and a horrible carnage before the God of Israel. For it is a day appointed by him from ancient times as a battle of annihilation for the sons of darkness. On that day, the congregation of the gods, lowercase g, and the congregation of men shall engage one another, resulting in great carnage. The sons of light and the forces of darkness shall fight together to show the strength of God with the roar of a great multitude and the shout of gods and men. A day of disaster. It is a time of distress for all the people who are redeemed by God. In all their afflictions, none exists that is like it, hastening to its completion as an eternal redemption. On the day of their battle against Kittim, they shall go forth for carnage and battle. In 3 lots, the sons of light shall stand firm, so as to strike a blow at wickedness. And in 3, the army of Belial shall strengthen themselves so far as to force the retreat of the forces of light. And when the banners of the infantry cause their hearts to melt, then the might of God will strengthen the hearts of the sons of light. In the 7th lot, the great hand of God shall overcome Belial and all the angels of his dominion, and all the men of his forces shall be destroyed forever. It's an interesting way of writing that. In the 7th lot. I wonder if that has to do with like the Jubilee stuff, like the 7 years. In the 7th lot, the great hand of God shall overcome. The annihilation of the sons of darkness in service to God during the war years. Then there's a blank. The holy ones shall shine forth in support of blank, the truth. For the annihilation of the sons of darkness, then blank, blank, a great roar, blank. It took hold of the implements of war, blank, 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 chiefs of the tribes, blank, and the priests. So I have no idea what's happening here, obviously, but we're going to get there. The Levites, the chiefs of the tribes. So that was probably Levites, chiefs of the tribes. The fathers of the congregation, the priests, and thus for the Levites in the courses of the heads of the congregation's clans, 52. They shall rank the chief of the priests after the chief priest and his duty, 12 chief priests to serve in the regular offering before God. The chiefs of the courses, 26, shall serve in their courses. After them, the chiefs of the Levites serve continually, 12 in all, 1 to a tribe. The chiefs of their courses shall serve each man in his office. The chiefs of the tribes and fathers of the congregation shall support them, taking their stand continually at the gates of the sanctuary. The chiefs of their courses, from the age of 50 upwards, shall take their stand with their commissioners on their festivals, new moons, and Sabbaths, and on all days of the year. These shall take their stand at the burnt offerings and sacrifices to arrange the sweet-smelling incense according to the will of God, to atone for all his congregation, and to satisfy themselves before him continually at the table of glory. All of these shall arrange. They shall arrange at the time of the year of remission. During the remaining 33 years of the war, the men said 40 earlier, right? These shall take their stand at the burnt offerings and sacrifices to arrange the sweet-smelling incense according to the will of God, to atone for all his congregation, and to satisfy. They shall arrange at the time of the year of the remission. During the remaining 33 years of the war, the men of renown, those called of themselves men of war, of the congregation, and all the heads of the congregation's clans shall choose for themselves men of war for all the lands of the nations. From all the tribes of Israel they shall prepare capable men for themselves to go out for battle according to the summons of the war, year by year. But during the years of remission they shall not ready men to go out for battle, for it is the Sabbath of rest for Israel. During the 35 years of service, the war shall be waged. For 6 years, the whole congregation shall wage it together, and a war of divisions shall be waged during the 29 remaining years. In the first year, they shall fight against the Aram Naharaim, Mesopotamia, and in the second, against the sons of Lud. In the third, they shall fight against the sons of Aram, Uz, Holtogar, and Mesha, who are beyond the Euphrates. In the fourth and fifth, they shall fight against the sons of Arphashad. In the sixth and seventh, they shall fight against all the sons of Assyria and Persia, and the easterners up to the great desert. And in the eighth year, they shall fight against the sons of Elam. And in the ninth year, they shall fight against the sons of Ishmael and Keturah. And during the following 10 years, the war shall be divided against all the sons of Ham, according to their clans and their territories. During the remaining 10 years, the war shall be divided against all the sons of Japhet, according to their territories. The rule of the trumpets. The trumpets of alarm for all their service for the blank, for the commissioned men, by tens of thousands and thousands and hundreds and fifties and tens upon the trumpets something. Blank, 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 blank. The trumpets, the battle formations, and the trumpets for assembling them when the gates of war are open so that the infantry might advance. The trumpets for the signal of the slain. The trumpets of the second ambush. Of the ambush. The trumpets of pursuit when the enemy is defeated. And the trumpets of the congregation of the reassembly when the battle returns. On the trumpets for the assembly of the congregation they shall write, the called of God. On the trumpets for the assembly of the chiefs they shall write, the princes of God. On the trumpets of the formations they shall write, the rule of God. On the trumpets of the men of renown they shall write, the heads of the congregations, clans, when they are assembled at the house of meeting, they shall write the testimonies of God for a holy congregation. And on the trumpets of the camp they shall write the peace of God in the camps of his holy ones. On the trumpets for their campaigns they shall write the mighty deeds of God to scatter the enemy and to put all those who hate justice to fight in a withdrawal of mercy from all who hate God. And on the trumpets of the battle formations they shall write formations of the divisions of God to avenge his anger on all the sons of darkness. I kind of find this super interesting because if you're talking about these trumpets, you're talking about the different things that they do, then you're describing how the people are at the time or what's going on. So he's got all these things and these places where these things happen. And just a few minutes ago, it was talking about the stuff that, like that, and how they were dividing their territory and who they were going to. So that should be pretty darn easy to find historically if they didn't completely lie about the history before the millennial kingdom. So if we think of Nero as the Antichrist of the time, 54 to 68 BC, or not BC, AD, then we should be able to find this information here in those areas. And I actually happen to have a book with timelines and biblical timelines and different things that were happening. So let's look and see if we can find something. Let's just look for this sake. So we're looking of when they might have let go of an area. All right, so what we need to know is when something would have happened. All right, let's see. In the 6th and 7th day, they shall fight against all the sons of Assyria and Persia, and the easterners up to the great desert. So let's see if there was a fight to the great desert in Persia around 54 to 70 AD. Okay. Okay, here we go. What I find really, really interesting is when they say John wrote the book of Revelation, they have two different dates, and they're far enough apart that's pretty ridiculous. There's also a guy named Emperor Domitian, and he demanded the title Lord and God. So it would be very, very curious to wonder if that guy set himself up to be an antichrist inside the temple. Of course, there's many antichrists, we know this, but finding the correct one, this is why earlier we talked about the antichrist being Nero, because he's the only one that fits both the 616 definition and the 666. So if you don't know what that is, that's the Bibles used to say that the measure of the man was the 666. That used to say 616, and it still does say it in the New King James Version. It's like a footnote. Coffee. Okay, let's go back. So what do we know? Now we know that there's all these rules, that there's all these places that fell, okay, that have to fall, at least for this all to be a true prophecy. And all these places would have to come down. Hi. You can come in here. So I'm talking about the Antichrist and the War Scroll. The Holy One shall shine forth in support of blank the truth for the annihilation of the sons of darkness. Then, there's some spaces here. A great roar. They took up the hold of the implements of war. So it kind of skips forward a few because the problem is that there's missing text because of it being in that cave, like we talked about. The Levites, the chiefs of tribes, the fathers of the congregation, the priests, and thus for the Levites, and the courses of the heads of the congregations, clans, 52. They shall rank the chiefs of the priests after the chief priest and his deputy, 12 chief priests to serve in the regular offering before God. The chiefs of the courses, 26, shall serve in their courses. After them, the chiefs of the Levites serve continually, 12 in all, one to a tribe. The chiefs of their courses shall serve each man in his office. I kind of find this interesting that it's like, it's, what it reminds me of a calendar, because we have, there's 52 weeks. Half of that is 26. And then there's 12. So there's 12 months of the year. Everything correlates with these numbers. So we have the 12 of the tribes. We have the 12 months. And it's talking about all this stuff and how it works. So now we have a congregation's clan, 52. We know how the Bible works a lot of the time on how it has lots of symbolism, and I kind of wonder, with all these numbers being said, if this has to do with more of a calendar thing and a timing thing than it has to do with actual separating chiefs and priests up into different areas. So let's go down to the war scroll. There's just a little bit further down, column 2. The congregation's class 52. They shall rank the chiefs of the priests after the chief priest and his deputy. 12 chief priests to serve in the regular offering before God. The chiefs of the courses, 26, shall serve in their courses. And after them, the chiefs of the Levites shall continually, 12 in all, 1 to a tribe. The chiefs of their courses shall serve each man in his office. The chiefs of the tribes and fathers of the congregation shall support them, taking their stand continually at the gates of the sanctuary. The chiefs of their courses from the age of 50 upwards shall take their stand with their commissioners on their festivals, new moons, and Sabbaths, and all the days of the year. Which, that does sound like calendar right there, right? Because now they're talking about the moon, and they're talking about all days of the year. So, to me, it sounds like what they were talking about is the calendar, just like I said. These shall take their stand at the burnt offerings and sacrifices to arrange the sweet-smelling incense according to the will of God, to atone for all his congregation, and to satisfy themselves before him continually at the table of glory. All of these shall arrange at the time of the year of remission. During the remaining 33 years of the war, the men of renown, those called of the congregation, all the heads of the congregation's clans, shall choose for themselves men of war for all the lands of the nations. From all the tribes of Israel they shall prepare capable men for themselves to go out for a battle, according to the summons of the war, year by year. But during the years of remission, they shall not ready men to go out for battle. I don't know, guys. This kind of sounds like, if I want to get in like a new agey type conspiracy deals, where it kind of sounds like star seeds that are getting put in for battle. They're readying them for battle. Okay, we're ready. Go in. It's time to go in. You have to incarnate here because we are in a dualistic society, and we have a choice. We can choose light. We can choose dark. We have the free will choice, right? So God isn't going to stop anything. He's not going to make anything happen because we have a free will choice. We have the right to choose. So they have people incarnate into these bodies to try to help get this ascension going, to fight on their side type deal, to bring more people to God. This is kind of what it reminds me of. So listen to this again. After them, the chiefs of the Levites serve continually, 12 in all, 1 to a tribe. 12 in all, the chiefs of the Levites, 12 in all, 1 to a tribe. If we're doing the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin, and the tribe of Levi, that's 3 tribes, but we're putting them all in. So all the 12 tribes are going to be represented, 12 in all. 12 in all what? 12 chiefs of the Levites? Then that would only represent the Levites. Or are we talking about months? The chiefs of their courses shall serve each man in his office. The chiefs of the tribes and fathers of the congregation shall support them, taking their stand continually at the gates of the sanctuary. This does not sound like an actual thing. This sounds like an esoteric thing. This, like, it's part of the physiology, like it's part of your body. It's not like this separate thing. It sounds like it's the gates, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the nose. Like protection over the gates. Is that what it sounds like? If you don't know what I'm talking about, please message me on here and I can reiterate that. The chiefs of their courses from the age of 50 upwards shall take their stand with their commissioners on the festivals, new moons, and Sabbaths, and all the days of the year. These shall take their stand at the burnt offerings and sacrifices to arrange the sweet-smelling incense according to the will of God, to atone for all his congregation, and to satisfy themselves before him continually at the table of glory. All of these shall range at the time of the year of remission. The time of the year of remission. So it has to happen at the time of the year of remission. So Jubilees are 7 years. So every 7 years you have a rest. The day of rest would be the 8th day, which is also the first year. Well, 7th day. So Jubilees, 7 days, and then the first year of the next set of Jubilees would be the 8th day, which would also be 1. These shall take their stand at the burnt offerings. I said that one already. During the remaining 33 years of the war, the men of renown, those called of the congregation, all the heads of the congregation's clans shall choose for themselves men of war for all the lands of the nations. From all the tribes of Israel, they shall prepare capable men for themselves to go out battle according to the summons of the war year by year. That's what I was talking about. It sounds like the waves of ascension. But during the year of remission, they shall not ready men to go out for battle, for it is a Sabbath of rest for Israel. During the 35 years of service, the war shall be waged. For the 6 years, the whole congregation shall wage it together. And a war of division shall be waged during the 29 remaining years. And in the first year, they shall fight against Aram, Naharaim, that one's hard, Mesopotamia. And in the second, against the sons of Lud. In the third, they shall fight against the rest of the sons of Aram, Uz, Hol, Togar, Mesha, who are beyond the Euphrates. In the fourth and fifth, they shall fight against the sons of Arpachshad. In the sixth and seventh, they shall fight against all the sons of Assyria and Persia and the Easterners up into the great desert. This sounds like Kabbalah type stuff where it's literally on the outside of the body and also the body, because you just keep moving up the chakra systems. It makes a lot of sense. And then, we talked about Ham. And now it's the rule of the trumpets of the alarm for their service. That's that part I already read. God has struck all the sons of darkness. He shall not abate his anger until they are annihilated. When they return from battle to enter the formation, they shall write on the trumpets of retreat, God has gathered. On the trumpets for the way of return from battle with the enemy to enter the congregation in Jerusalem, they shall write rejoicings of God and a peaceful return. The rule of the banners of the whole congregation, according to their formations, on the grand banner, which is at the head of all the people, they shall write people of God, the names Israel and Aaron, and the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, according to their order of birth. On the banners of the heads of the camps of the 3 tribes, they shall write the Spirit of God and the names of the 3 tribes. Because it's like that whole thing back in Genesis. I guess they have in Genesis, but Exodus really, because, whenever they're separated into their little camps. And so you have 3 on this side, 3 on this side, 3 on that, 3 on that, like the 4 corners of the earth type thing. The Spirit of God and the names of the 3 tribes. On the standard of the tribe they shall write the standard of God and the name of the prince of the tribe of its clans, and the name of the prince of the 10,000, and the names of the chiefs of and his hundreds on the banner. And on the banner, Merari, they shall write the offering of God, and the name of the prince of Merari, and the names of the chiefs of his thousands, on the banner of the... I don't know what this means. Us. And they shall write, the anger of God is loosed against Belial, and all the men of his forces without remnant. And the name of the chief of the 1,000, and the names of the chiefs of the hundreds, and on the banner of the 100 they shall write, 100 of God, the power of war against all sinful flesh. And the name of the chief of the 100, and the names of the chief of the 10s. And on the banner of the 50 they shall write, ended is the stand of the wicked by the might of God. And the name of the chief of the 50, and the names of the chiefs of his 10s. And on the banner of the 10 they shall write songs of joy for God on the 10-string harp. And the name of the chief on the 10s, and the names of the 9 men in his command. So this part makes absolutely no sense to me. So I might have to, well, I will have to read it again because I don't understand it. And of course, there's no explanation here, but it's just like, so, they have banners and they're writing on these banners just like they're like battle gear kind of thing. Which is really funny because I just said that. And then this next sentence says, when they go to battle, they shall write on their banners the truth of God, the righteousness of God, the glory of God, the justice of God. And after these, the list of their names in full. When they draw near for battle, they shall write on their banners the right hand of God, the appointed time of God, the tumult of God, the slain of God. And after these, they shall their names in full. When they return from battle, they shall write on their banners the exaltation of God, the greatness of God, the praise of God, the glory of God, with their names in full. I wonder if these banners are just like their bodies. It's like writing it on your heart, writing it in your mind, that type of thing. Because I mean, it sounds kind of weird. Like you're like walking down the road and they're writing stuff on a banner. The rule of the banners of the congregation: when they set out to battle, they shall write on their first banner the congregation of God, the second, the camps of God, third, the tribes of God, fourth, the clans of God, the fifth, the divisions of God, sixth, the assembly of God on the seventh, those called by God on the eighth, the army of God. They shall write names in full with all their order. When they draw near the battle, they shall write on their banners the battles of God, the recompense of God, the cause of God, the reprisal of God, the power of God, the retribution of God, the might of God, the annihilation by God of all the vainglorious nations, and their names in full they shall write upon them. When they return from battle, they shall write on their banners the deliverance of God, the victory of God, the help of God, the support of God, the joy of God, the thanksgivings of God, the praise of God, and the peace of God. The length of the banners of the whole congregation, shall be 14 cubits long. Remember, a cubit is 18 inches. The length of the banners of the whole congregation, 14 cubits long. The banner of 3 tribes, 13 cubits long. The banner of a tribe, 12 cubits long. The banner of 10,000, 11 cubits. The banner of 1,000, 10 cubits. The banner of 100, 9 cubits. The banner of 58 cubits. The banner of 10, 7 cubits. The ruler of the shields. And on the shield of the prince of the whole congregation, they shall write his name, the names Israel, Levi, and Aaron, and the names of the 12 tribes of Israel according to their order of birth, and the names of the 12 chiefs of their tribes. It just seems like to me, so there's all this description about like what they're writing their names on and how their names are written. And it's just like, is this even important? Well, obviously it is. They wrote it down, but I don't know why it's important because it doesn't make any sense to me. Other than the fact that if it's like written on your heart and it's talking about who the people were at the time, how they acted at the time, where they lived at the time, and what they're going to accomplish at that time because of the things that are written on their banners. So far, it doesn't tell me really anything about Armageddon other than the fact that, it's there. You have to fast forward so far to even hear anything about the battle. There's different battle divisions. There's the way they address people. There's prayers for the chief priests, blessings in the war recited by all the leaders, blessings of war recited by the leaders in the morning after the battle, the final battle. So I find this interesting. It says the final battle, the second engagement. Then it says the final battle, the third engagement. The final battle, the seventh engagement. Then it says thanksgiving for a final victory. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here that we don't know that's like from the book of Revelation. And I guess the final victory is that. It says, "You have done wonders upon wonders with us, but from of old there is nothing like it. For you have known our appointed time. Today your power has shined forth for us, and you have shown us the hand of your mercies with eternal redemption, in order to remove the dominion of the enemy, that it might be no more. The hand of your strength in battle, you shall show yourself strong against the enemies for an absolute slaughter. Now the day is pressing upon us to pursue their multitude for you. Blank and the heart of warriors, you have, broken so that no one is able to stand. Yours is the might, and the battle is in your hand, and there is no God like you." Then there's a blank, then your, then blank. "In appointed times of your will and reprisal, your enemies, and you will cut off from blank, the God of Israel, blank, to remove Belial, blank, in his place of destruction, Abaddon, blank, blank. And we shall direct our contempt at kings, derision and disdain at mighty men. For our majestic one is holy. The King of glory is with us, and the host of his spirit is with our steps. Our horsemen are as the clouds and as the mist covering the earth, as a steady downpour shedding judgment on all her offspring. Rise up, O hero, take your captives, O glorious one, and take your plunder. O you who do vainly, lay your head upon the neck of your enemies, and your foot upon the backs of the slain. Crush the nations, your adversaries, and let your sword devour flesh. Fill your land with glory, and your inheritance with blessing, an abundance of cattle, in your fields silver and gold, in your places, O Zion. Rejoice greatly, and rejoice, all you cities of Judah. Open your gates forever, so that the wealth of the nations might be brought to you, and their kings shall serve you. All they that oppressed, you shall bow down to you, and they shall lick the dust off your feet. Lick the dust of your feet. O daughters of my people, burst out with a voice of joy. Adorn yourselves with ornaments of glory, and rule over the kingdom of the blank, blank, your blank, in Israel for an eternal dominion. And it says ceremony after the final battle. Then they shall gather together. Then they shall gather in the camp that night for rest until the morning. And in the morning they shall come to the palace of the battle line, where the mighty men of Kittim fell, as well as the multitude of Assyria. And the forces of the nations were assembled unto them, to see whether the multitude are slain are dead, with no one to bury them. Those who fell there by sword of God, and the chief priests still approach there with his deputy, his brothers, the priests, and the Levites with the leader of the battle, and all the chiefs of the battle lines and their officers, blank, blank, together. When they stand before the slain of the Kittim, they shall praise there the God of Israel, and they shall say in response, blank, blank, to God Most High and blank. Well, I don't understand that last part. There's just so many blanks there, so it's kind of hard to really get too much out of it. But I don't know. I mean, it's cool and all. I just don't understand the point of this. But I do see that, where it could be helpful is to find out what season we're in by checking out those dates and the places that we're run into. Is it worth a read? Sure, why not? Anything's worth a read, I suppose, if you're trying to do some research. I probably will read it one more time, but probably just to myself, because it's got a lot of stuff in there, and I'd have to really dive deep because it was kind of hard to figure out what some of the words were because they were missing. And I don't want to like write a word that maybe not belong, but it does feel like a few of them you could have honestly just figured out what word it was. So anyway, that's the end of today's discussion. I know it was kind of an odd one and probably extremely boring, but it's the Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you want to get this book, I actually bought this book at, I got it at Christmas time at Books A Million. I actually went into the store and got this. So it's $29.99. It was probably on sale at Christmas. And also, if you have the book card, you could probably get a hold of one of these books a lot cheaper. Most of the books of these Dead Sea Scrolls are already in some of the other things that I had. This also has a couple other things like a story about Exodus, Thanksgiving hymns, the War Scroll, which I thought would be a lot more exciting than that. Putting me to sleep. There's some other things. There's a Damascus document. There's, I don't know, like these ones are like the lesser known good ones, I guess. There's an Aramaic translation of Job. That one I actually thought was really interesting. It certainly is a different take on what I know to be Job and the Old Testament. So I don't know. That one is actually pretty interesting. You might want to check that out. Songs to Disperse Demons. That's actually the title of this thing. So I might want to read that just in case some demons walk along and I can sing some songs. But they're different Psalms of Solomon. And it's actually interesting because I have read the Bible to some demons before. They twitched like crazy. So yeah, you can check out some of this. Find it very interesting. This also talks about the coming of Melchizedek, which we know is Jesus, Yeshua. So he comes from that line of Levites. That's the priest. And Shem was Melchizedek. So that's talked about in the book of Jubilees. And that's a line that gets passed down through the Levites. So the order of Melchizedek was given to Abraham, who then gave it to, I'm assuming, went straight to Jacob and then down. But it might have passed to Isaac. But I don't remember that. Anyway, it's very exciting. So check out this book and let me know what you think. I will see you later, and probably most likely tomorrow I'm going to try to do some different streams of the different books of Apocrypha, but also as well as the Dead Sea Scrolls and regular Bible studies, and definitely going to do a deep dive on the book of Revelation. So I will see you then. Thanks for joining the 144, and I will see you soon.